Looking back again at OpenCourseWare, together with Joseph Pickett, we can have another concrete hint about the use and reuse of OERs by educators, and also catch some suggestions about how to use OCW Educators section at best.
What are the benefits to instructors to having open materials available to them and their colleagues? MIT faculty, we know, use it in a variety of ways. The first is to see what their colleagues are doing. Quite often they're too busy, to go down into another building and talk to somebody, or they don't even know that the person is teaching a similar subject. On OCW, the materials are available and they can see very quickly and conveniently exactly what other instructors are doing. Sometimes in other departments, they're teaching very similar things. So that's one strong benefit of having the materials up there. Another is to see how they've designed certain kinds of resources. So what kinds of problem sets are designed in the aeronautics and astronautics department as compared to another department that has similar things. Mathematics is involved in both things, often the same mathematics but under different nomenclature. So that's a very beneficial thing for faculty. We know that it's a good thing to have these things up there because it inspires faculty to start conversations with each other about how they teach and why they've set up a course a certain way. And now on the OCW site, we have this project called OCW Educator, in which the instructors are interviewed about how they teach the course and why they teach the course the way they do. And that's been really an exciting thing. So we have interviews with instructors. They're set up usually as magazine pages. Sometimes they're video interviews in which the instructors explain what they're doing in the classroom, what the advantages are to doing it, what the challenges are, how they've tried to meet those challenges. And these interviews go across a wide variety of disciplines now. So everything from math classes to geology, the hard sciences, and literature. Quite often it's hard for OCW to capture those classes because they're discussion-based and it's not practical to go in and film every class of student discussion. But the question arises, how does the instructor foster a productive discussion with the students? And we interviewed a couple of instructors who've had some very, very creative ideas about how to do that and how to get students to take more responsibility for their own education. So the instructor is not just coming in and talking at the students come in primed to have a discussion, and the instructor knows what the questions are that the students are going to ask and can prepare appropriately for that. So there's lots of very interesting things on this OCW Educator site, and you can now search these interviews by instructional approach. We've tagged them all with a whole bunch of different categories: active learning, problem solving, the flipped classroom. So we've interviewed instructors about how they flipped the classroom, why they've done it, what the benefits were from doing that, and what the specific things they did for that particular course were. So that's been really, really a fun project, and I think it's very useful. And the real goal of that is for instructors to look at these different ways of teaching and to think about their own teaching and to have a conversation with other instructors about how they think the best way of going about it is. How other instructors use the materials on the MIT OCW site. If you go to the site, at the top of the bar at the top, you'll see About OCW, and under that there are OCW stories. And if you look under there, there are testimonials from students and independent learners and teachers. If you click on More Stories, you'll see the full set of teacher reflections. I think represent a good cross-section of the use by instructors. So first, you'll see a couple of testimonials, and I think this is very common, where instructors look at OCW materials and don't reuse them directly per se in their own teaching, but they use them as inspirational models for how they're going to design a course or even a curriculum for a certain discipline of study. So I think that's a real interesting thing because different cultures have different kinds of pedagogy, and a lot of places look to MIT because it has had so much success in educating its students in a whole variety of different disciplines. The other interesting aspect of this is that these instructors have use these materials to kind of advocate sometimes with their colleagues about how they might change the way they teach. So that's one area, the sort of inspirational model, we would call it. Another area is having students take entire courses. And we know that parents who homeschool their children often have them follow through a whole course of study on OCW. Another example are individual instructors who select certain things. They may have students watch a video and at home, come back to class and have that as a discussion topic. They may show a video in class or a chunk of a video, then use that to discuss with the students what the video is about. So we know that there's all these different ways of using OCW, which doesn't surprise us because the users themselves use it in a variety of ways. They sometimes take whole courses. They sometimes only look at individual things. They may try assessments and for practice. So we know that depending on what your needs are and what your interests are, you can use the materials in a whole variety of different ways. I've talked to some high school teachers who have very, very smart students, especially in mathematics, and they have mastered the high school curriculum to a certain point, and that instructors don't really have more material to give them in the standard curriculum that is taught in the school there. So they have looked at OCW to give these students a further chance to learn more and to prepare themselves for the college experience.